For almost 25 years, Halo was not simply a game associated with Xbox. Halo was Xbox. It was the franchise that helped explain why Microsoft needed a console in the first place. It introduced millions of players to the original Xbox, helped define console shooters, and became one of the clearest symbols separating Microsoft's platform from everything around it. Now that symbol is coming to PlayStation. Halo Campaign Evolved launches on July 28th across Xbox Series consoles, personal computer, cloud gaming, Steam, and PlayStation 5. Players who buy the premium edition can begin on July 23rd. The standard version costs $49.99, while the premium version costs $69.99. On Xbox and personal computer, it is also included on day one through Game Pass Ultimate and Personal Computer Game Pass. That means one of the most important franchises in Xbox history can now be purchased by a PlayStation owner who may never create space for an Xbox console under the television. And that is why this is bigger than another remake. The obvious reaction is to call this the moment Xbox gave away its identity. Put Master Chief on PlayStation, remove one more reason to purchase Xbox hardware, and watch Microsoft slowly turn itself into a normal publisher. But that explanation may be too simple. Microsoft is not merely allowing Halo to escape its ecosystem. Microsoft is expanding the places where its ecosystem can make money. A PlayStation player can buy Halo for $49.99. An Xbox or personal computer player can buy it permanently or enter through Game Pass. Digital Xbox buyers receive Xbox Play Anywhere support, which carries progression, saves, and customization between Xbox Series consoles and Windows personal computers. Players across Xbox, Steam, and PlayStation can join through online cooperative play with crossplay and cross-progression. Microsoft earns from the person who buys Halo on PlayStation. It maintains a subscription relationship with the person playing through Game Pass. It maintains a store and account relationship with the person buying inside the Xbox ecosystem. It can reach all three without requiring all three to purchase the same piece of hardware. That is the transformation hiding inside this release. The old Xbox strategy used major games to sell a console. The emerging Xbox strategy uses games to pull people into a network of purchases, subscriptions, accounts, personal computers, cloud services, handheld devices, and consoles. Halo Campaign Evolved is the clearest test yet, because Halo is not just another property Microsoft acquired. It is the franchise that once proved why Xbox hardware mattered. If even Halo no longer has to stay inside that box, then what exactly is Xbox becoming? And perhaps more importantly, why should someone still buy the console? To answer that fairly, we have to separate three things that are often treated as one argument. What is good for Microsoft as a business? What is good for players who want more ways to play? And what is good for Xbox hardware as a product? Those answers may not be the same. Halo Campaign Evolved is a rebuilt version of the original Halo Combat Evolved campaign. It includes updated visuals, cinematics, controls, expanded weapons and vehicles, and a new 3-mission adventure featuring Master Chief and Sergeant Johnson. It supports solo play, 2-player split-screen cooperative play on consoles, and online cooperative play for as many as 4 players. Crossplay and cross-progression mean the wall between platforms matters less once everyone enters the game. That alone is a meaningful player benefit. A group of friends no longer has to own matching hardware just to experience Halo together. A longtime PlayStation player can finally enter the campaign without purchasing another console. An Xbox player can continue through Game Pass. A personal computer player can choose Steam or the Xbox application. Microsoft has reduced the friction surrounding Halo, but reducing friction around the game also removes friction from a harder question. If the game is available almost everywhere, what exclusive value remains inside the Xbox console itself? The answer used to be obvious. On November 15th, 2001, Halo Combat Evolved arrived beside the original Xbox. The relationship between the game and the machine was immediate. Microsoft entered a console market already shaped by powerful competitors. It needed more than technical specifications and a large controller. It needed a reason for players to believe a Microsoft console belonged in gaming. Halo became that reason. The original campaign showed what the hardware could deliver. Halo 2 helped turn Xbox Live into a cultural force. Halo 3 became an event tied directly to the Xbox 360 era. Hardware bundles, advertisements, midnight launches, and multiplayer communities repeatedly reinforced the same message. To participate fully in Halo, players entered Xbox. That is how traditional platform exclusivity worked. A platform holder invested in games that made its hardware distinct. Players chose the machine because it offered experiences that could not be reached through the competing box. The game created demand for the console. The console then created a customer for future games, online services, accessories, and digital purchases. Halo on PlayStation reverses part of that equation. Microsoft is no longer asking every Halo customer to become an Xbox hardware customer first. It is asking whether the Halo customer can be valuable wherever that person already plays. That change did not happen overnight. Microsoft has gradually placed more of its games on other platforms. Sea of Thieves reached PlayStation. Grounded expanded beyond Xbox. Hi-Fi Rush moved outward. Forza became another example of a major Xbox-associated property reaching a wider audience. Each release weakened the assumption that a game published by Microsoft would remain permanently attached to Microsoft hardware. But Halo carries different symbolic weight. A smaller title crossing platforms can be described as an experiment. A multiplayer game can be explained through the need for a larger community. An acquired franchise can arrive with a complicated history of existing audiences and agreements. Halo cannot be separated so easily from Xbox identity. This is Microsoft placing one of the original foundations of its console brand onto a competing machine. The business logic is understandable. Game development is expensive. Major franchises need large audiences. Microsoft owns an enormous publishing operation spanning Xbox, Bethesda, Activision Blizzard, King, and other studios. It already earns money from games played far beyond Xbox consoles. Microsoft says it reaches more than 500 million monthly active users and describes itself as a leading publisher across platforms. That scale changes the question executives are trying to answer. The company is not only asking how many Xbox consoles it can sell, it is asking how many players it can reach, how often those players engage with Microsoft properties, where they purchase content, whether they subscribe, and whether their progress remains attached to a Microsoft-connected ecosystem. Halo on PlayStation can serve that model. A PlayStation sale produces software revenue from a customer Microsoft might not otherwise reach. The competing storefront takes its platform share, but Microsoft still gains a sale, another player, and potentially a larger Halo community. Meanwhile, Game Pass gives Microsoft a way to make its own ecosystem feel more convenient. The same campaign that costs $49.99 as a PlayStation purchase is included for eligible Game Pass subscribers on Xbox and personal computer. That comparison is intentional whether or not Microsoft describes it that way. PlayStation offers direct access through a permanent digital purchase. Xbox offers a permanent purchase and a subscription route. The personal computer offers Steam, the Xbox application, purchasing, subscriptions, and Xbox Play anywhere. Microsoft can place the game on competing hardware without making every version of the relationship identical. That is where the strategy becomes more sophisticated than simply giving away an exclusive. Microsoft is expanding distribution while attempting to preserve advantages inside its own services. The PlayStation version increases reach. Game Pass increases recurring engagement. Xbox Play anywhere rewards purchases made through Microsoft's ecosystem. Cross-progression lowers the cost of moving between screens. Cloud gaming gives eligible subscribers another route. The Xbox console becomes one entrance into the network, rather than the borders surrounding it. That may be a stronger business model for Microsoft. It does not automatically make Xbox hardware a stronger product. Those two realities can exist at the same time. Imagine three players looking at Halo campaign evolved. The first owns a PlayStation 5 and has no interest in purchasing another console. That player can pay $49.99 for the standard edition and receive the campaign on the hardware already connected to the television. The The second owns an Xbox Series console and subscribes to Game Pass Ultimate. That player can access the game on day one through the existing subscription. The third plays across Xbox and a Windows personal computer. A supported digital purchase through the Xbox ecosystem includes Xbox Play Anywhere, allowing progression, saves, and customization to move between those devices. All three players reach the same core campaign. All three can participate in online cooperative play across platform boundaries. But each relationship with the game is different. The PlayStation buyer is making a direct purchase. The Game Pass player is receiving access through an active subscription. The Xbox Play Anywhere buyer is purchasing within a system designed to carry that entitlement across console and personal computer. This is important because access and ownership are not interchangeable. Game Pass can be an excellent value without becoming permanent ownership. A player keeps access under the terms of the subscription and the service's availability rules. If the subscription ends, access through that subscription ends unless the game is purchased separately. A digital purchase creates a more durable entitlement than a rotating subscription entry, but it still depends on an account, a storefront, platform policies, and continued technical support. A physical edition can create additional flexibility, but even physical games can involve downloads, patches, account requirements, or incomplete data on the disk. There is no single format that solves every modern ownership concern. Halo Campaign Evolved makes these differences visible because Microsoft is offering several paths into the same game. Convenience is the strongest argument in favor of the new model. A player does not have to spend hundreds of dollars on another console just to access one campaign. Friends can play together across platforms. Progress can move. A subscription can lower the immediate cost of trying the game. A permanent purchase remains available for people who do not want subscription access. That is real progress for players. The complication is that the traditional console bargain becomes harder to explain. A platform holder once said, in effect, "Buy our machine, because this is where our defining experiences live." Microsoft is now saying something closer to, "Enter our ecosystem through whichever screen makes sense for you." That sounds friendly until the hardware customer asks what unique reward comes from choosing the Xbox screen. Microsoft does have answers. Game Pass remains one of them. Existing libraries remain another. A player who has spent years purchasing Xbox games, building a friends list, earning achievements, and using backward compatibility has continuity that cannot be reduced to one exclusive release. Xbox Play Anywhere gives supported games a valuable connection between console and personal computer. Microsoft says the catalog now includes more than 1,500 games. Backward compatibility remains central to the brand. Microsoft has also committed to keeping games from 4 Xbox generations playable and says it is developing new ways to access older titles. The console can still be the simplest dedicated machine for someone who wants Microsoft's services, library, controller experience, and living room interface in one place. And Microsoft has not abandoned dedicated hardware. Project Helix, the next-generation Xbox console, is officially in development. Microsoft says developer alpha hardware is planned for 2027. The company describes Helix as a first-party console designed to play Xbox console and personal computer games. Microsoft has also said players can continue to expect signature exclusives every year. Those facts matter because they set a boundary around the argument. Halo appearing on PlayStation is not proof that Xbox consoles are ending. Microsoft is investing in another console while expanding its software across more devices. The real strategy appears to be both. Keep hardware, reduce the number of games that require that hardware, use certain exclusives to differentiate the platform, use other properties to maximize audience and revenue, make Xbox services feel consistent across screens. The difficulty is maintaining balance. If Microsoft places too many defining games elsewhere, players may decide a PlayStation and personal computer provide access to almost everything they need. If it keeps too many games exclusive, it limits the larger publishing audience Microsoft has spent billions building. If Game Pass becomes too expensive or unstable, the subscription advantage weakens. If Project Helix offers a compelling combination of console simplicity and personal computer openness, The hardware could find a new reason to exist that is not based only on exclusives. This makes Halo Campaign Evolved more than a test of one remake. It is a test of whether Microsoft can expand the meaning of Xbox without making the actual Xbox console feel optional. That is why the cleanest answer is not that the Southeastern Conference is leaving, and it is not that the entire conversation is theater. It is a serious warning from a conference with enough money and influence to make the warning matter. The next question is what happens if the warning is ignored? A true structural split would reach every level of college football. The Big Ten would immediately face pressure to choose a direction. The Atlantic Coast Conference and Big 12 would have to protect their access, revenue, and national relevance. Group of 5 programs would need to know whether they still have a route to the same championship. Football championship subdivision programs could lose relationships, games, and financial opportunities tied to the current system. Bowl organizations would have to renegotiate their place. Recruiting and transfer markets could divide if different governing structures use different eligibility rules. Traditional rivalries crossing the new boundary could become harder to protect, and every national championship would face a legitimacy question. If one powerful group crowns its champion and another organization crowns a different champion, which one represents college football? Supporters of a formal split may argue that college sports already operates this way. The richest conferences already control most football revenue. They already command the largest television audiences. They already drive playoff negotiations and many national policy conversations. From that perspective, a formal separation would simply admit what the sport has become. But formalizing the split would still change the incentives. Today, a smaller program can at least exist inside the same national association and pursue a recognized championship path. A divided structure could turn financial gaps into permanent competitive boundaries. It could also place even more power in the hands of a small group of conference commissioners, media partners, university presidents, and legal advisors. That may produce faster decisions. It would not automatically produce fairer ones. So, how should this story be read right now? Not as an announcement, not as a countdown, and not as empty noise. The public evidence supports a serious warning. The Southeastern Conference is saying that its participation in the current national structure depends on whether that structure can deliver workable rules, credible enforcement, reasonable legal protection, and a postseason system the league considers fair. The conference has not shown the public a finished exit plan. It has shown the public that remaining is conditional. The next signals will be concrete. Watch the final shape of the Protect College Sports Act. Watch whether the Southeastern Conference and Big Ten support it after negotiations. Watch the next college football playoff format decision. Watch whether the 9-game schedule becomes a real competitive problem during the season. Watch future meetings of conference presidents. Most importantly, watch for the moment when discussion turns into infrastructure, a working group, a written governance proposal, a legal framework, a partnership agreement, a championship plan. Those would be signs that the conversation has moved from frustration toward preparation. Until then, the honest conclusion is more measured, but still enormous. The Southeastern Conference is not walking away from the NCAA today. It is putting the NCAA, Congress, and the rest of college football on notice that the current arrangement is no longer guaranteed forever. That matters because the largest changes in this sport rarely begin with a formal announcement. They begin when the people with the most power stop treating the existing structure as permanent. That is the work behind GamingRealm and the larger GameplanByDylon ecosystem. The goal is not to repeat the loudest headline. It is to organize the evidence, separate what is real from what is exaggerated, and explain what the football conversation could change next. In this case, the headline says the Southeastern Conference might leave. The deeper story is that college football's most powerful conference has publicly admitted that staying now comes with conditions.